Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 5 of a Vlogwork Orange. Now, it's been a couple of weeks since Salute, but I've been incredibly busy in that time, so I'm only just getting around to telling you all about my wonderful experiences right now. So, first things first, I almost didn't get to Salute because I wasn't able to book my ticket or my transportation too far in advance, since I was in the US of A recently, so I didn't know whether I'd actually come back with any money to afford to go or not, so I couldn't do a whole lot of pre-booking. I was planning to get the train down, except by the time I got around to trying to book a ticket, all the cheap tickets had gone and it would have cost me an obscene amount, a point at which I wouldn't have actually been able to go because it was so much. So I put the word out that I was looking for a lift, and eventually I found it in the way of Hot Drop Painting Studios. I got a lift down there with those lovely chaps. They were going down there on the Friday, which I'll get to in a minute, the reasons why. So we had to stay in a hotel for the night, which was very, very cosy indeed. 4 of us in one room. Now, the reason they were going down on the Friday is because they've done work with Hawk Wargames in the past, and they were going down there to help out prepare the big, gigantic spaceship display that Hawk were doing at Salute. And since I was with them, I lent a bit of a hand as well. So if you saw that big spaceship and you were very impressed with some of the edge highlighting on it, there is a possibility that some of the edge highlighting that impressed you could have been mine. There's a little bit of my dry brushing and some washes on there as well. So maybe about 0.001% of the paintwork on there, somewhere in the realm of that, may be my handiwork. So that was nice, getting to see the Hawk Wargames HQ. And also, just to show you the far-reaching appeal of Chilling Wargamers, at Hawk HQ, an episode of Chilling Wargamers was actually playing on one of the monitors. What can you say about that? All the miniatures companies are, of course, big fans of Chilling Wargamers. With good reason, of course. It is the most A-list, legitimate wargaming journalistic endeavour that's ever been undertaken in this industry. Hawk HQ and the hotel we were staying at both were fairly close to Salute, so that was very nice. So, actually it should be said on the way down there, I did encourage them to listen to my Steven Seagal CD, Mojo Priest. I've inflicted this CD on numerous people on car journeys in the past, and these guys were actually the most receptive to it. They actually listened to, I think, almost the entire CD. Most people just skip through the songs. They think, oh, this is going to be rubbish, it's Steven Seagal, so they just whiz through the songs. But it's actually, I'm not going to say it's good, but it's not as bad as you would expect. And once you actually listen to it a little bit and you don't just immediately turn it off because you have these preconceived notions about it, if you give it a chance, it's at least listenable and tolerable. So it's nice that they gave that a chance. That was very much appreciated. Now, at Salute, the whole building, of course, is very huge, but by pure chance we ended up parking very, very close to the section of the building that Salute was actually contained in, so it wasn't too far of a walk to get in there. The queue was vast, one of the largest queues I've seen in my time, but it did move pretty quickly once I started unleashing people into the hall. I did run into a few people in the queue. Let's see, I've got some names down here. Mr. Broken Toad, the legend of pigments and paintbrushes. Saw him in the queue. I saw Stevie the Maniac and British Legion. I was about halfway into the queue and they were just joining it. So they must have got in a fair few minutes after me. I did see them. I also saw Illusion and Miniature Painting, if you're familiar with him. But I didn't actually recognise him particularly at first. I thought, do I know that guy? I'd only ever seen him on video before, so I wasn't 100% sure it was him until someone else confirmed when we were inside. So then I did talk to him later. So it didn't take that long to get through the queue at all. Once they started unleashing people. The hall itself was vast. It was just wall-to-wall people and traders, stands and miniatures as far as the eye could see in all directions. The largest amount of traders I've seen at a show. Far bigger than any of the others. Probably bigger than all the others combined, even. There's just so much stuff in there. So the first thing I did was just wander around and take everything in, just to make a mental note of where everything was, and then decide where I wanted to go and spend more time later on. I didn't get to do much of that. I didn't spend too much time at any of the stands. and I'll get to the various reasons why in a minute. So the large queues that I noticed, there was a huge queue at Forge World, which you can understand because it's a very popular brand and product line, but also, wouldn't it be easy just to order their stuff online? It's not like they had any kind of discounts on the day that I was aware of. And also the fact that you would have had to pay to enter Salute as well. I know some people turned up only for Forge Worlds. They queued up, bought something from Forge World, and then went home. So when you include the Salute entry price, I'm not sure it was really worth it for those people. If anyone can justify that kind of behaviour to me, please do so in the comments, because I am not sure why anyone would do that. Also, it was nice to see a very large queue at the Dice Bag Lady's stall. She was pretty much swamped all day from what I could see. It was quite a narrow frontage on her stall, so it was like 3 or 4 people deep most of the time. So when I was going around doing all my A-list interviewing later on, I had to wait till pretty much the end of the day when a lot of people had gone to get anything with her, because she was just overwhelmed with customers all day, which is of course nice to see, small businesses being swamped by people willingly handing over their cash. Run into a large number of community members, of course, and I've just put down some names here off the top of my head. This is probably only about half the people, but let's see how many I can get. I've got Train Tutor, Mazda Mundi, Spud, The Dan Bringer, Jojo Man, Thomas Gessler, Elstonation, Waterloo 745, Templars Crusade, Talk Wargaming, Dreadlun, Warmaster Painting, Colour of the Gods, tons more, but those are just the ones off the top of my head. I'll probably put something up with all my pictures, which will have more people in them. There's a few people I didn't get a chance to take pictures with, just because I forgot, or they weren't there for very long, or I was otherwise occupied at the time. But I did get pictures with probably more people than I've ever taken pictures with at an event, because that was at the forefront of my mind most of the time. Just because so much of my time was spent interacting with people, rather than browsing. People from companies as well, a lot of people from Mantic, Hawk War Games, Across the Dead Earth, Dice Bag Lady, Riverhorse, and the industry giant himself, Mr. James M. Hewitt, was there, unchained for the day, perhaps. Now, I've just recently purchased some higher quality audio recording equipment for events like this, but I didn't have it at the time of this event. So because I've done events like this before where I've tried to interview people, and the audio quality is always really, really bad because it's so loud in there, and there's very rarely a nice secluded spot that you can whisk people away to, especially with Salute being a one-day event. People are very hesitant to be whisked away in the first place, because normally people would just jump at the chance to be whisked away by me, an A-list legitimate wargaming journalist, but because they're so busy and overwhelmed by customers, it's not exactly the easiest thing. So I decided I'd go for a very guerrilla-style, in-your-face kind of interviewing, where I just get the camera literally right up in their face to make sure everything they were saying was being captured with some level of clarity. So I interviewed people, community people, A-list game designers, all important people, and then, just to be generous, Stevie the Maniac as well, just for a bit of charity. Maybe it'll give him a few subscribers when they see him on there. So that was fun. I'm going to be doing a lot more interviewing at events, especially now that I've got my higher quality audio equipment. I've got an audio recorder and an actual handheld microphone now, so that's going to be interesting. So I can either just hold the microphone with one hand, camera in the other, or get the tripod out and be really professional, depending on space and how much time I've got and whatnot. Some people I didn't see all day. Speaking of professional coverage, by the way, I didn't see any of the usual Beasts of War guys there. I know they were there because I've seen them on video, and I've seen them in some other people's pictures, but just walking around all day I didn't see a single one of them, except, oddly enough, their American correspondents. I didn't see any of the usual crews, so I can only assume that every time I walked past any of their regular areas, like their Star Wars game, they were all just in a back room or something doing technical stuff. But didn't see a single one of them. There's a few other people that I know were there as well I didn't see all day, which was really weird. A few people I messaged on Facebook afterwards to confirm whether they were actually there or not, and they were, just didn't run into them because it's so big, and if you're all walking around in the same direction, just 100 yards behind each other, you will never see each other all day. It's so vast. So like I said, I spent most of the time just chatting, mingling, interacting with people. Didn't do any participation games or demo games or anything like that, because really just mingling was enough. There were tons of people there that I hadn't met before, or I'd only met maybe once or twice before. Just tons of community people that I'd probably spoken to a lot online but never in person, so I was just chatting with people all day, pretty much. I did make a few purchases, mostly very small, minor purchases. Orange things mainly, unique orange dice, if you've seen my unfathomably large haul video, which is quite a misleading title because I spent less than £10 while I was there. £2 of that was actually on a raffle ticket for the Help the Heroes thingy, so that's not really a tangible thing. So less than £8 really on things that I could hold in my hand. I would say this is definitely the best one-day event that I've been to, just because it was so huge, and mainly because there were so many familiar faces there. So just being able to chat with all those people that I hadn't been able to much in the past was very nice. The location of it, from up here in the north, it's not ideal going all the way down south, but it was definitely worth it, and I would definitely go again. As far as how it ranks up there with all the events I've been to, not just the one-day events, it obviously falls behind the 2 Adepticons, just because they also have the crazy adventure of going all the way to America and meeting people that I would never normally get an opportunity to meet. So they obviously are a little bit higher on the totem pole. With being multi-day events helps a lot as well, and there's a lot wider variety of stuff that goes on at those events as well. So overall, wonderful experience, and I'll be going to a couple more events this month as well. So very, very busy indeed. There's a Mantic Open Day coming up next week, which is going to be very emotional. Last Mantic Open Day, we as the Chilling Wargamers provided some highly professional video coverage of that event with interviews with various staff and whatnot. So we're going to be doing something similar again this time, but probably on a larger scale. Probably going to be videoing some of the seminars as well, with the new high quality audio equipment to be able to get a lot more stuff done. Also, I'm hoping to get some Kings of War action in as well, taking some of my snow goblins down there to show off, so that'll be fun. Mantic Open Day is always nice. It's a lot more intimate than some of the other events, but obviously you don't have as many people there, so pros and cons. Speaking of big events though, at the end of May there's the UK Games Expo, which I'm going to be attending for all 3 days, and I have managed to get myself a press pass as well, through being just an A-lister in general and a worldwide media icon, as I am. So, all 3 days at the Games Expo, that's going to be exciting. Obviously that's not as much focused on miniatures and war games as some of the other events, but it's still going to be a lot of fun, and they do usually have a ton of dice there, many of which will be orange, I'm sure, so I'm probably going to make some more purchases there. I did just sell a couple of items from the Adepticon swag bag on eBay as well, so I have raised a few funds if I want to spend some money there while I'm at the Games Expo. Maybe have a little more leeway than I would usually have, so that's going to be fun. Also, other developments, there are some exciting things coming up in my future. First of all, I'm working on a free rule set for a line of miniatures that is currently available. I'm not going to say too much about that yet until it's done, but I'll tell you more about that at some point. And also, I've been designing a card game which is agonizingly close to going down the path of becoming an actual product. Just 1 or 2 things need to be signed, a couple of things need to be sorted out, but it's looking like it is actually going to happen. But because it's not very far down the line yet, that I can't give away details on it in case anyone steals all my wonderful ideas. But that's something I would really like to get into, just designing games. I was making board games when I was a child, really. I just never looked at it as something that could ever possibly be a career path, because it was always just something I would do for fun. So I just kind of stopped doing that for a long time. But I did come to realise, because I've been looking for something to do with my life as a career that's going to be very rewarding for me. Not necessarily hugely financially rewarding, but a little bit would be nice. But mainly something that I love doing, I would like to make a career out of, and that is definitely right up there among the things that I enjoy. So if I could make something of that, that would be very, very emotional and exciting and delicious times for me. So you can wish me luck on that, and if anything happens regarding that very soon, you'll probably hear about it here first. I'll probably be shouting it from the rooftops. Keep 'em peeled. It's not a huge amount of other things to say in this episode. Really just wanted to sum up Salute and tell you a couple of things that are coming up soon. As far as what I've been working on hobby-wise, I've got some Kings of War goblins on the table right here that I'm painting. I've got a huge box full of Relics Orknar that I'm painting away at. And that's pretty much it. I've got a game of 40k coming up this weekend with the usual opponents. We'll see what kind of crazy scenario we have this time. I can't promise that it won't contain the Emperor's bodily fluids. Also, the international Relics Hangout games have been going very well. So if you haven't checked those out, you should go and have a look. I think we try to explain what's going on a little bit so that people who are unfamiliar with Relics can probably get into it a little bit easier. So I think they're good intros for people if you're not really too into that game yet. It's a good place to start. Also, I'm going to be doing another one of these videos at some point in the next couple of weeks, I think, because somebody recently in a video brought up a topic that struck a bit of a nerve, and I was going to leave a comment, and I thought, well, I don't think that's really going to do it justice, because it's going to be quite a lengthy response, so I might as well just do it in video form, because it is quite in-depth. So you can look forward to that. It's going to be very emotional, hard-hitting, and I'm going to be spending the rest of today making some more videos, I think. So, I hope you've enjoyed this Vlogwork Orange, and that you'll keep tuning in to the future installments. Ta-ta!